Hello friends. So today in this last video, I'm gonna be talking to you about the Eighth Commandment. So just to recap a little bit, we've been talking about the Ten Commandments this week. We're finishing on the eighth, just because a few of them were related, so we talked about them together. As you see in the other videos, on the same channel. But yeah, so the commandments are the basic rules that God gave us, so that we can follow them to be able to go to heaven, right? These are things that God wants us to do. They help us live our life in a good way, and be kind to one another, things like that. Today, the eighth commandment says, "You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor." Or in simpler terms, it says, "You shall not lie." So we should always be honest. Now, when we talk about lying, we should get into a little bit of the specifics on exactly what this means. Lying is defined as speaking a falsehood with the intention of deceiving. So, for example, a falsehood is something that is not true, right? So if I say my hair is white, I think it's obvious my hair is not white. So that is something that is false, right? Um, but another example is if our parents tell us to, clean your room, and we say, I did clean my room, but in truth, you just kind of shoved everything into a corner out of the way so that they wouldn't see, maybe in the closet, but it's not really clean. That's also a falsehood, right? Um, and this other word here, intention of deceiving. Intention is basically the goal, or what we mean to do, what we want to do with our actions or our words. And deceiving is making somebody think something that is incorrect. So lying, speaking a falsehood, something that is not true, with the intention, with the goal of making them think something that is not true, that is wrong. So a couple examples here. So let's say you take a toy, something that you just really want, maybe from somebody at school, a friend at school, and they're looking for it, and they ask if you've seen it or anything, and you say, no, I haven't seen it. I didn't take it or anything. That's falsehood, right? And the intention, the motive there is because you want to keep it, right? And you want them to not realize that that you do have it. So that is lying, right? um, Another example is, let's say you ask your little brother, what time it is, right? And they look up at a clock, one of these clocks with the hands in a circle, and they read the hour wrong, right? Because it was a little close to the other hour, they read it wrong, and they say it's 11 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock. Now that is also a falsehood, right? But the intention is different. They just made a mistake, right? Their intention, their goal, their purpose in saying this was not to deceive, was not to tell you something that was wrong, right? Even though it was wrong, the time was wrong. Their intention was good. They wanted to give you the time, but they made a mistake in reading it wrong. This is not lying, because the intention of deceiving is not there. A lie is only something when the intention is there. Um, Now, something often asked when talking about lying, let's say a friend, goes to get a haircut, right? And maybe they didn't do a very good job, and their haircut looks kind of funny, right? As often people ask, is it wrong to spare their feelings, to not hurt their feelings by saying a white lie, is what they call it, right? A white lie. We don't want to tell our friend that their hair, looks funny, that they look funny, right? So we might tell them, yeah, it looks good, right? Um, So yeah, when we talk about lying, our intention is very important. Are we trying to hurt? Are we trying to deceive? um, you know but sometimes with these white lies, it might seem that we have good intentions, right? Because we don't want to hurt their feelings. But it can also lead them to more hurt later, right? Like well, as another example, when somebody, let's say they're gonna go to a party or to a wedding or something, right? And so they try to dress up and look real nice, right, with a tie and everything. And they say if their outfit looks good, or maybe they didn't notice this like really bad stain, it's dirty on the back of their shirt, right? And well, we don't want to make them feel bad, so we'll say, yeah, you look great, no problem, right? um, but in that moment we might be sparing their feelings, but once they actually get to the party, there they will maybe get very, very embarrassed, because there everybody else will see that that they actually had a dirty shirt or something, the back of their shirt was stained. And people might start laughing at them or something. So even though in the moment, we felt like we were helping them, like we were doing something nice by not hurting their feelings, in the long run, and in the end, maybe it hurt them even more, right? Like the example of the bad haircut. Sometimes you can fix haircuts, right? You can go to a better haircut place. They can fix it, or things like that. So sometimes even these little white lies, sometimes when we have good intentions, even then, it's not always the best thing to do, right? Um, but yeah, so we should always, always be honest. Um, so something else, the last thing here that falls into this commandment, the eighth commandment of always being honest, is something called gossip. So gossip is talking about somebody else when they are not in the room, right? Or they are not with you. It's like just, it's usually talking bad about somebody else. Especially when those words are not true, right? Sometimes this can be tempting to do with friends. We gang up against somebody else that maybe we don't like so much, and this is what gossip is, and it's very hurtful and very bad. Even if the things that we are saying are true, it still falls under the sin of gossip in this eighth commandment. So we should always be kind with our words, and not ruin other people's reputations, right? Our reputation is something, is the way people view us, right? Like if I'm constantly going around, taking other kids' lunch money and stuff like that at school, then I get the reputation of being a bully. That's what a reputation is. Um, Now there are some things that we are supposed to tell others, right? Like tell the teacher, especially if you see somebody not doing something that is not safe, things like that. Now that does not fall into gossip, right? There are definitely times where we have to speak up and speak against evils going on in the world. But yeah, we should definitely not sit there and just trash talk somebody else's name, because yeah, we don't need to go around ruining people's reputations. Yeah, that's I mean things to do, right? So yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us for this week in our online Bible camp, that kind of took place of the usual tourist. And yeah, so thank you, and I hope you all have a wonderful summer. Have a good day. Bye bye.